Welcome back. We are on part 3 of the Cask of Amontillado. We're going to find out what's going to happen. Now remember, Cask of Amontillado is a story by Edgar Allan Poe, written and published in November of 1846. A cask is a large barrel of expensive wine. And as we know, we've got our narrator is decided to seek revenge on his friend Fortunato, who he feels has insulted him. And so he's going to get revenge by causing his immolation, which is his death. So he's going to kill his friend because of the insult. We don't know what the insult is, but apparently it was very offensive to him. He has convinced his friend to come down into his vaults or his catacombs, basically where his relatives have been buried through the years, to test out this wine. Okay, he's got this big barrel of wine, and he thinks it's expensive wine, but he's not sure. So his friend, Fortunato, is going to come test it out to see if it really is Amontillado, which is expensive wine. They've gone down now into the vaults to test. They keep wandering down, and throughout, the narrator keeps saying, oh, we should go back. But he knows that Fortunato is going to keep coming, right? Because he has appealed to Fortunato's vanity. Fortunato feels that he is the best person in the world to test wine, and he's got to prove it by coming down into the vaults. Okay, so we left off. They had just talked about being a mason, and he said, well, I've got a trowel here, and we weren't quite sure why he had a trowel with him. Perhaps we'll find out. Be it so, I replied, replacing the tool beneath my cloak and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. Keep in mind, Fortunato was drunk before he ever came down into the vaults. In the vaults, they have now had 2 bottles of wine between the 2 of them. He's probably feeling the effects quite a bit, right? We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descended again, arriving in a deep crypt, in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeaux rather to glow than flame. So their torches are kind of having trouble because the air there is so foul. Right? At the most remote end of the crypt there appeared another, less spacious. Its walls had been lined with human remains, piled to the vault overhead, in the fashion of the great catacombs of Paris. 3 sides of the interior crypt were still ornamented in this manner. So 3 walls are just covered in skeletons. Okay, real skeletons. This isn't Halloween costumes, decorations. Real skeletons, 3 walls. 1 wall is not. For the 4th side, the bones had been thrown down and laid promiscuously upon the earth, forming in one point a mound of some size. Within the wall, thus exposed by the displacement of the bones, we perceived a small interior recess, in depth about 4 feet, in width 3, in height 6 or 7. So there's a little alcove, right? 4 by 3 by about 6 or 7 feet high. It seemed to have been constructed for the special use within itself, but formed merely the interval between 2 of the colossal supports of the roof of the catacombs, and was backed by one of their circumscribing walls of solid granite. So it's just this little recess, and there's a wall behind it, right? It was in vain that Fortunato, uplifting the dull torch, endeavored to pry into the depths of the recesses. Its termination the feeble light did not enable us to see, so we couldn't quite see inside to see where it ended, right? Proceed, I said. Herein is the Amontillado. As for Lucchese, he is an ignoramus, interrupted my friend, as he stepped unsteadily forward, while I followed immediately at his heels. In an instant he had reached the extremity of the niche, and finding his progress arrested by the rock, stood stupidly bewildered. He walked in, came across a wall. I was like, what do I do? And he just stood there, totally confused. Again, he's a little drunk. Comes along this wall, doesn't know what to do. A moment more, and I had fettered him to the granite. Wait, what does fettered mean? Oh, I had chained him to the granite wall. Wait, what? In its surface were two iron staples, descending from each other about 2 feet horizontally. From one of these depended a short chain, from another a padlock. Throwing the links around his wrist, it was but the work of a few seconds to secure it. He was too much astonished to resist. Withdrawing the key, I stepped back from the recesses. Okay, so he walks in this alcove, is confused, there's a wall, he turns around, and as he's turning around, his friend, Montresor, chains him to the wall. So he's now chained to this wall in this alcove. Going, wait, what's going on? Pass your hand, I said, over the wall. You cannot help feeling the niter. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, I implore you to return. No? Then I must positively leave you. But first, I must render you all the little attentions in my power. Okay, so Fortunato is chained to the wall. He cannot go anywhere, right? And now the narrator says, oh, we should go back. Come on, let's go back. Oh, you can't, huh? Oh, oh well, I guess I'm going to leave you. The Amontillado? Ejaculated my friend, not yet recovered from his astonishment. True, I replied, the Amontillado. So again, the friend's still kind of like, wait, what's going on? Why we came down here for this Amontillado and now I'm chained to a wall? What's going on? Right? He's like, oh yes, the Amontillado, no problem. As I said these words, I busied myself among the pile of bones of which I had before spoken. Throwing them aside, I soon uncovered a quantity of building stone and mortar. With these materials and with the aid of my trowel, I began vigorously to wall up the entrance of the niche. So he is going to put a wall in front of Fortunato, who is going to be basically walled in to this, into the vaults. I had scarcely laid the first tier of masonry when I discovered that the intoxication of Fortunato had in a great measure worn off. All of a sudden, he became very sober, realizing, wait a minute here. And suddenly, things are kind of clicking, right? The earliest indication that I had was a low, moaning cry from the depths of the recesses. It was not the cry of a drunken man. There was then a long and obstinate silence. I laid the second tier, and the third, and the fourth. So he's just putting bricks along. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of bricks. And then I heard the furious vibration of the chains. All of a sudden, the chains are shaking, right? Fortunato's realizing what's going on, and he's like trying to break free from the chains. The noise lasted for several minutes, during which, that I might hearken to it with more satisfaction, I ceased my labors and sat down among the bones. So he stopped his work so he could listen to Fortunato freaking out. When at last the clanking subsided, I resumed the trowel and finished without interruption the 5th, 6th, and 7th tier. The wall was now nearly level with my breast. I again paused, and holding the flambeau over the masonwork, threw a few feeble rays upon the figure within. A succession of loud and shrill screams, bursting suddenly from the throat of the chaste form, seemed to thrust me violently back. For a brief moment I hesitated, I trembled. Okay, so all of a sudden Fortunato's starting to scream, right? Now he's really understanding what's going on. And he's like, oh, he kind of freaked out. He's screaming, right? I unsheathed my rapier, my sword, and I began to grope about with it at the recesses. But the thought of an instant reassured me. I placed my hands upon the solid fabric of the catacombs and felt satisfied. I reapproached the wall. I replied to the yells of him who clamored. I re-echoed. I aided. I surpassed them in volume and in strength. I did this, and the clamor grew still. Fortunato starts to scream. Help, help, get me out of here. He's freaking out. And Montresor screams with him. He says, oh, we're going to scream? Okay, let's scream. I can scream too. We can scream as loud as we want, because you know what? No one can hear us. It doesn't matter how loud you scream. It doesn't matter how loud I scream. No one is going to come save you. It was now midnight, and my task was drawing to a close. I had completed the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th tier. I had finished a portion of the last and the 11th, and there remained but a single stone to be fitted and placed in. I struggled with its weight. I placed it partially into its destined position, and now there came from out of the niche a low laugh that eradicated the hairs on my head. It was succeeded by a sad voice, which I had difficulty in recognizing as the noble Fortunato. The voice said, "A very good joke indeed, an excellent jest. We shall have many rich laughs about this at the palazzo. Over the wine?" "The Amontillado," I said. Yes, the Amontillado. But is it not getting late? Will they not be awaiting us at the palazzo, the Lady Fortunato and the rest? Let us be gone." So Fortunato's really hoping this is all a joke, and he's going to get set free, and they're all just going to laugh about it, and everything's going to be fine, right? So let's be gone. Let's get out of here, right? Yes, I said. Let us be gone. For the love of God, Montresor! Yes, I said. For the love of God. But to those words I hearkened in vain for reply. I grew impatient. I called aloud, "Fortunato?" No answer. I called again, "Fortunato?" No answer still. I thrust a torch through the remaining aperture, and let it fall within. There came forth a reply only a jingle of the bells. My heart grew sick on account of the dampness of the catacombs. I hastened to make an end of my labor. I forced the last stone into position. I plastered it up. Against the new masonry I reenacted the ramprint of bones. For half a century no mortal has disturbed them. In pace requiesce, which means rest in peace. So he left him buried alive in the catacombs. And for half a century, so for at least 50 years, nobody has disturbed them, meaning nobody has found him. Rest in peace. So the question is, remember he said at the beginning, I want to get revenge and I want to do it with impunity. I don't want to get caught. Did he succeed? Did he do it with impunity? Yes, he did. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that. There is, and I'll put a link to this in the video, but there is a short movie that was done on this. So if you're interested, if you liked it, you could watch the movie. You don't have to, but it's just there in case you like it. Hopefully this kind of get you some ideas, some thoughts going about how, if you want to write kind of a mystery, spooky kind of story, how you can do it. One of the things I really like about Poe is that it's all psychological. He's not, this isn't like a bunch of blood and guts and, he's messing with the guy's mind, okay? So we don't see any killing. We don't see any death per se. We don't see any blood, but we know what's going to happen and we see how it happens. So it's just kind of a cool kind of way to approach it. So thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Next video, we're going to actually explore a few of Poe's poems. So hope to see you there.